Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here I will answer the question from the story The Sniper that I have read before. Number 1. The characters from the Sniper story. First, the Sniper. He is a protagonist. He is described as a young man with a thin face, deep thoughtful eyes, and ruthless determination. Second, the enemy sniper, a Free State soldier fighting against the Republican rebels. He is never named and remains faceless until the shocking reveal at the end. Third, the old woman, an informer who betrays the sniper's location to the enemy. She is a minor character, but is instrumental in the defeat of the protagonist. Fourth, fourth, enemies in the gun tower, a minor antagonist who is killed by the protagonist. Fourth, enemies in the gun tower, a minor antagonist who is killed by the protagonist. The setting takes place on a rooftop is doubling around a canal bridge. The place is filled with tension and danger, the sounds of gunfire and the ever-present threat of death. The plot of the story follows a Republican sniper on the rooftop in Dublin during the Irish Civil War. He successfully picks off an enemy soldier and an informant but is wounded himself. He devises a clever plan to lure out another enemy sniper and manages to kill him. However, he discovers that the dead man in his the dead man is his own brother. Overcome with remorse and despair, the sniper throws down his gun and flees. Part B summary of this short story. This story takes place on a rooftop in Dublin during the Irish Civil War. The sniper watched the ongoing battle below and engages in occasional sniper duels with the enemy on the opposite rooftop. After he was wounded, he pulled to kill the enemy sniper and succeeded. In doing so, he then feels remorse and fear upon learning the identity of his enemy, realizing that his enemy may be a friend or someone he knows. The film ends with the uncertainty of the sniper's reaction to discovering that the enemy he killed was the face of his brother, and the story's deeper meaning of the futility of war and the tragedy of fighting one's countrymen. Part C. The imagery found in the story. There is a clear and well-crafted use of imagery in the story, which evokes a vivid picture of the setting, characters, and action. The description of the setting creates a dark and tense atmosphere as the city lies enveloped in the darkness, pierced only by the faint light of the moon and occasional flashes of gunfire. The characters are also clearly characterized, with the Republican sniper depicting as stoic and determined, while his enemy is also vividly depicted as slowly facing death, falling forward as even a dream. Overall, the use of imagery helps create a captivating and thrilling story. Part D. Readers of The Sniper will most likely experience a range of emotion throughout the story. The story Sniper refers to the snipers whose encounter is captured in the story, and their mutual relationship despite their differing views of political position in the bloody civil turmoil. Although their relationship is based on animosity, it is ultimately revealed to be deeper than their political divisions, as the dying Republican sniper is shocked to realize that his enemy sniper is their colleague from the past. Before the Irish Civil War began, this relationship emphasizes the tragedy of war inherent in the destruction of the supposedly promising lives and relationship between fellow individuals despite their differing views. My favorite part of the story is the scene where the sniper uses his tactical ingenuity to lure the enemy sniper into a trap. I found the character's cleverness and bravery very interesting, as the sniper was able to defeat his enemy in a clever and unexpected way. The part of the story that I found most interesting was the scene where the sniper was injured and paralyzed for his action. Although I think the character's emotions are conflicted, I find it less interesting than the action-packed scenes of the sniper's tactical strategy. The tone of the book. I would argue that the overall story theme and tone varies in this story. Overall, the story leads to a more somber tone that emphasizes the tragedy of war. The focus on the sniper character adds to the grim and dark feel of the story. At the end of the story, it depicts the devastation of the loss of life due to war. This story shows that violence only begets more violence. The sniper's initial act of killing sets off a chain of events that leads to his own wounding and ultimately the death of his brother. The story examines the morality of war and its impact on individuals. Overall, the moral of the story is that war is a tragic and destructive human individual that impacts both sides. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.